Imagine two people so closely connected that fans saw them almost like family, appearing in each other's projects, celebrating milestones together, and sharing inside jokes only they seemed to understand. Now imagine the internet suddenly, whispering that this bond might have cracked, all because of one album announcement and a handful of song titles. That's exactly what's been swirling around Taylor Swift and Blake Lively. And the way this whole thing has unfolded has been messy, to say the least. It all kicked off with something that should have been purely celebratory. Taylor, who is famously selective about her interviews, sat down for a rare conversation on the New Heights podcast. That alone was enough to set the Swiftie community buzzing. Millions clicked in within hours. But halfway through the excitement came a reveal that had everyone dissecting every detail. Her 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl. Not only did she share the artwork, but also the track list. And nestled right there among the taboo titles was one that fans couldn't stop talking about: Ruin the Friendship. On paper, it's just a song name, but when you remember that Taylor and Blake's friendship has been one of Hollywood's most public, warm, and long-lasting, complete with Blake directing one of Taylor's music videos and their kids' voices making cameos in her songs, it's not hard to see why people started connecting dots. Another track on the album, Cancelled, only fueled the speculation. The timing was curious. Blake had been dealing with her own share of controversy, starting during the promotion of the movie It Ends With Us. In late 2024, a major New York's EO Times piece revealed that Blake had filed a formal complaint against the film's director and co-star Justin Baldoni, accusing him of crossing professional boundaries and creating an unhealthy work environment. It wasn't just a quiet filing. It became a headline storm. Then Baldoni escalated things with a jaw-dropping $400 million defamation lawsuit against Blake, her husband Ryan Reynolds, and her publicist, claiming they were intentionally trying to damage his career. Up until that point, Taylor's name hadn't been in the mix, but Baldoni's legal team decided to change that. They issued a subpoena for her, claiming that Blake had leveraged her close friendship with Taylor to pressure him into agreeing to changes in the film's script. In their filings, they even referenced a text message where Blake allegedly called Taylor and Ryan her dragons, people who would defend her in conflicts.
And the reason I wanted to have it sort of like an offstage moment as the main album cover is because this album isn't really about what happened to me on stage. It's about what I was going through offstage. So
Sure.
it's like I didn't want to have like the lights are bright, I'm on the stage as the main album cover. It's just this to me tells more of what the actual contents lyrically of the album are. I wanted the album to feel the way my life felt, and this completely matches the way that my life has felt. And I also wanted it to be just every single song is on this album for hundreds of reasons, you know, and you couldn't take one out and it be the same album. You couldn't add one and it's just right. And that focus and that kind of discipline with.
For Taylor's team, the claim was absurd. They clarified that her only connection to the film was licensing her song My Tears Ricochet, something 19 other artists had done for the soundtrack. No involvement in casting, no script rewrites. She hadn't even seen the movie until after it was released. It seemed like her name was being used more as a spotlight magnet than anything else. But that wasn't the end of it. Baldoni's side then alleged something far more personal, that Blake had privately threatened to leak 10 years' worth of text messages between herself and Taylor unless Taylor publicly voiced support for her. They claimed Blake had even asked Taylor months earlier to delete their message history entirely. And here's where the plot twisted again. Reports surfaced that it was Taylor's own father, Scott Swift, who had approached Baldoni's team with information in exchange for them dropping the subpoena against his daughter. According to sources, he didn't want Taylor anywhere near this legal mess and was willing to cooperate to keep her out of it. The alleged threat about the texts, the request to delete messages, all of it was handed over as part of that deal. Ultimately, the judge ruled these accusations irrelevant to the defamation case and barred them from court proceedings. But, by then, the court of public opinion had already started drafting its own verdict on the state of Taylor and Blake's friendship. For fans who had watched them support each other for years, it was hard to picture them on opposite sides of anything. Yet the signs started adding up. Public appearances together stopped. Social media interactions vanished. And now, with Taylor's album announcement and that suspiciously pointed track title, people were convinced the songs might be telling more of the story. On the podcast where she unveiled the album, Taylor described the record as being less about the big, glittering moments on stage and more about the quiet, complicated things happening when the spotlight was off. She explained that every track had its place and removing even one would change the whole album's meaning. It was a comment that, in any other context, might have been purely artistic. But given the rumors, fans wondered if she was hinting that even the difficult or uncomfortable parts of her personal life, like a friendship gone sour, had their place in her story. And then there was the moment many listeners latched onto, Taylor talking about what it's like to see her name in headlines for things she had no part in. She joked about how people could be out there doing too much, and she could still end up at the center of the gossip without lifting a finger. For some, this felt like her most direct nod to the Blake-Justin drama without actually naming names. Of course, none of this confirms that Ruin the Friendship is about Blake. Taylor has a history of writing songs inspired by situations that aren't literal or are composites of multiple experiences. It could just as easily be about another relationship. Some have even thrown Carly Kloss into the guessing pool. But when the pieces line up so neatly in people's minds, speculation becomes almost impossible to stop. What makes this whole thing more fascinating is how it blends the world of celebrity friendships with the unpredictability of legal battles and public image. These aren't just two friends unfollowing each other on Instagram. These are A-list figures navigating personal loyalty, reputation, and massive career moves under a microscope, with every silence, lyric, and facial expression getting analyzed. Fort high. Now, the defamation lawsuit between Baldoni and Blake is still alive in the courts, but Taylor's direct involvement has ended. The subpoena is gone, the judge has shut the door on the more personal accusations, and officially, there's nothing to say the friendship is over. But unofficially, fans are reading into everything. The missing interactions, the choice of words in interviews, and the fact that Taylor's dad stepped in to protect her. Whether the track is a deliberate nod to the rumors or just an uncanny coincidence, the effect is the same. People are waiting and listening more closely than ever. And that's the magic, or the curse, of Taylor's music. Every lyric feels like a secret meant to be decoded. Maybe when the album drops, we'll get the confirmation everyone's looking for. Or maybe we'll be left with more questions than answers, still piecing together the puzzle from a distance.
It's at a point where, like, something can be about me, like my name can be in the actual headline, and it can still be none of my business. Okay? People can be out here, people might be out here doing too much.
Just shaking ass.
Doesn't mean I have to do a damn thing.
One thing's certain, when you mix a tight-knit friendship, a legal circus, and the world's most scrutinized pop star, you don't just get headlines. You get a cultural moment, the kind that keeps people hitting refresh and wondering what's really happening behind closed doors. And until either woman decides to break the silence, the mystery isn't going anywhere.